Well, hello and welcome back. Today on Bucket Ponds, we are building a brand new planted ecosystem using a very old container. This is a 2.5-gallon aquaculture nano aquarium with built-in lid and light. I think you can still buy these. I found mine used on the side of the road several years ago. It has lived a few different lives with us here on the channel. It has been the pond in a jar aquarium and the microfauna aquarium. Yes, a few years apart. Been empty for too long, so today we are going to rebuild. I am starting with a layer of organic compost, which will make up the base of our ecosystem here. Normally, on top of that, I would add a layer of non-biodegradable screen mesh, but we're not going to do that. Today, I am looking for a natural alternative, so I have found some oak leaves, and we're going to put those inside. They should be aquarium safe. They may add some tannins and some things to the water. I'm not quite sure what will happen. I haven't really worked with dry leaves like this much, but they were not boiled or soaked, so I just picked them up and rinsed them off. We'll hope for the best. The goal of these leaves is to hold down that compost so it doesn't float around in the tank. You'll see what I mean here in a few minutes. But also to slowly break down. Those leaves can become food for our tiny pets that we keep inside. I tend to call them microfauna, for lack of a better term. Now, on top of those leaves, I'm adding a layer of aquarium gravel. I believe this is pond pebbles, pond stones, something like that. And this will pin those leaves down, and those leaves will pin down that compost. Ultimately, we'll have a nice simulated pond substrate here. Now, our buddy, the Solar Aquarium on YouTube, he has suggested that we try a different method. When filling up our tanks, we should use a little cup or a little shield down there to kind of break up the flow of the water. And that's a great idea. So we're borrowing from our friend's experience here. And yeah, going from there. It worked out really well. If you add your water too quickly, you can blow away a lot of the dirt and make a big mess. It will settle eventually, but I don't want to start this build like that. It's Christmas Day, and I want to go ahead and get a nice video up as a gift for you guys, and I want to just compress it down to one day. I'll skip the observation phase on this tank, and we'll come back to it, in a week or so, but now we need to add our seashell, or the shell method is what I call it. We're going to use that shell to anchor one of our plants, and today we're using some hornwort. Hornwort should do really well in this tank, and in fact, it should grow like crazy, and that's a lot of fun. Gotta love that stuff. That shell is just there to help pin the plant down to the bottom, but if the water becomes very acidic from that compost, then in the leaves especially, that shell should begin to slowly dissolve and raise the water's pH and hardness, raise the hardness back to a more acceptable level. So it's a bit of an experiment. I want to see how this substrate reacts underwater. I want to see if that seashell will help keep things balanced in here without any other sources of calcium. And I want to see what happens. Yeah, I'm very excited. I was talking about this tank with the members the other day, and I just really wanted to rebuild it. And I had a few extra hours today on Christmas to go ahead and get this done. It's all being filmed today. Now I want to add some stone in here. So I have some Mexican pond stones or beach stones. I can't quite remember. I got them at Home Depot, and we got them to balance in a really cool way right here in the corner. I hope it stays like that. But they should be aquarium safe. I've used them in a few different projects with no obvious issues. We'll hope for the best. That's one good thing about my channel. Give me some ideas and suggestions, and I'll try it and let you know what happens. Save you from doing some of the work, right? But the tank looks pretty cool. Actually, yeah. When you fill it with water, a lot of those scratches disappear. Now we're going to add some microfauna in here. We're going to seed this project. This is an injection of water and small animals, Daphnia and things from the wild collection samples that I have off screen. I'll have that video done soon. Here's an injection full of detritus worms and tubifex worms and paramecium, along with some duckweed. That duckweed will carry bacteria which are beneficial for our nano aquariums. And of course, the tubifex worms and the detritus worms will help to consume any loose organic material. I'm hoping they can find a way to access that compost and become happy little, reproducing worms. But they should do well in here. Also, a few of our ostracods. I just love them. You just have to have them. And probably some copepods as well. There may be other things in that wild injection. I'm still studying those samples and seeing what we can culture in them. But here we are. We've seeded the tank with many different forms of life. And of course, we're going to add some bladder snails and maybe even a few ram's horns in here as well. This tank is a good fit for bladder snails, but for ram's horns, I'm not quite certain what to think about it. So here's a look at the tank with the lid on, and it is very old, you guys. I have replaced the bulb within this lid, but it is still really dim, and I think that's just how it is. I can try to get a better bulb, a little LED bulb or something, but I think for now we'll run this without the lid at all. There we go. I think that just looks better, right? It's up here on the rack with the other jar aquariums and stuff. And here's a look at our little bladder snail buddy here. Exploring the tank. There's a few of those leaves as well. Nice separation between the layers. I think it's going to work really, really well. But the tank looks good. Yeah, I'm very happy with this. Not bad, really. I want to watch that shell closely and see if it does dissolve or, begin to dissolve. And you may see a few bubbles as the compost is outgassing. It's very natural. Looking at the surface, we have a bladder snail that is entirely upside down. They can do this, and it's really awkward to watch. Kind of fun, too. But over here, we have a look at our duckweed and our hornwort. Gotta love duckweed. I put it in pretty much every container, and it is covered in beneficial bacteria and other things. If you look at a piece of duckweed under a microscope, it is loaded with small animals, and I have no idea what most of them are. But I assume they're good for my aquariums because things tend to work out well with duckweed. For one final addition, I will be adding this right here, which is a Sweetgum Seedpod. Yeah, I believe. I hope so. I hope that's what it is. But I found a few of these on the wild collections that I was talking about. We took a trip out to a local swamp, and I am still working on that video, but I'll have it up soon. There's one of our little worm buddies right there. But that sweet gum pod, that should work out well as a habitat and food source for microfauna, and since it came from our wild collection samples, it may be loaded with new things as well. So there's a chance we might find something new that becomes very successful in this aquarium. Gonna add a few ram's horns here, red ram's horns. Generally, they do better in aquariums with aeration, with an air pump. But I don't have an air pump on this one. I think that they'll do okay in here as long as the duckweed doesn't take over the surface of the water. If it looks like that might happen, we'll have to just pull a bunch of it out. It'll be fine. I know a lot of people don't like duckweed, but I love it. I think it's great. If nothing else, it just soaks up a bunch of loose nutrients and helps to clean up our water a little bit. But here it is. We built a beautiful nano aquarium on Christmas Day. This is my gift to you guys. Thank you so much for being members of the channel. I also have a piece of water spangles in here because I like that plant. But thank you to our YouTube members and our Patreon supporters. If you were thinking about joining the channel and supporting what I do here, I would highly suggest that you become a YouTube member. It's $1 a month. I try to post a lot on there and communicate with you guys a little bit extra, you know. But yeah, we have a lot of fun. I think we do anyway. And I just hope you guys have a great Christmas. I'll see you throughout the year, you know, until 2025, and we'll have even more content. And yeah, I think we'll keep doing this for the next 10, 15 years. Imagine the stuff that we're going to build. Yeah. Have a Merry Christmas, you guys. Happy holidays, all your good stuff. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.